Hello, welcome again to another One Piece review and theories. This time I'm coming up with a theory of how strong Ace would be after the 2 year time skip. What originally prompted me to make this kind of video was how I was seeing One Piece YouTubers like Frankie come out with theories and strength theories of how strong Ace was, or how Luffy measures up to Ace and stuff. And for the most part, I've seen a lot of people downplay Ace and say he was weak, which Ace is not weak by any form of the imagined. But and I felt like I wanted to make this video to show how that Ace would not have been a pushover in the new, well, if we got to the new world and we saw him in after the 2 year time skip, and how he would probably have been stronger than Luffy, or actually just a number of people. For instance, for starters, if Ace, I don't want to say if Ace was alive, then Whitebeard would also be alive. So I'm trying to think of a way. Well, okay, so in Marineford, if Ace didn't die, and this is basing it off of if this is all based off if Sabo came and rescued Ace off of that side story. So if Ace survived, then Whitebeard would have probably survived. So let's just like toss out Blackbeard and his crew's strength for a second. So Ace would have survived. I'm gonna say Whitebeard would have survived, and Whitebeard would still have been a Yonko. Now, Whitebeard would still have been feared, judging by his power. Uh, Judging by his power, I mean, after 2 years, obviously he's not at his prime, but he can still hold his own. He can still destroy an admiral, so like with ease. So obviously he probably maybe wouldn't be on terms. He'll probably be equal to strength of Big Mom. I wouldn't know how he would fare up against Kaido necessarily, but hey, he might fare up against him. Who knows? Maybe. But all in all, let's see. Let's just take Big Mom's crew versus Whitebeard's crew and say a lot of people are saying how Ace wouldn't fight or be good at Cracker or beat Cracker or anyone of Big Mom's crew. And I must say that people are looking at it to where, as Cracker 2 years in the future going up against Ace 2 years in the past. Ace 2 years in the future would have most likely have gotten a very strong form of hockey, or like armament hockey, because as we've all seen and we've all known, Ace never really showed armament hockey. We know he has it due to his side story, and he has used it against a vice admiral that has beaten. But the thing is that Ace was introduced before hockey was like solidified as a thing. It was just teased. It was probably teased as people would make predictions or like look into it with the whole Zoro finding his sword under the rocks using observation hockey, or Ace detecting people were near him using observation hockey, quote unquote. But it was never outright stated that he was using observation hockey, so I'm going to throw that out the way. So all he knows is armament hockey to a certain extent, but he's not good at it, and I'm going to throw out Conqueror's hockey since he's never been able to control it, which I do have a theory about that too. Ace okay, so Ace had a lot of potential to be strong. Would have he gotten to that potential within 2 years? Who knows? But let's see. He had the chance. He had the option to use, or not option. He has the power, or he had the power as a kid to use an uncontrolled form of Conqueror's hockey. Judging by how many Conqueror's hockey users there are in the New World, Doflamingo, Kid, all four of the Yonkos. Well, maybe I don't know. I guess Blackbeard can use it, but yeah. But I'm gonna just say all four of the Yonkos can use Conqueror's hockey. That's just speculating, but we know Shanks and Big Mom can use Conqueror's hockey. Katakuri can use Conqueror's hockey. We got. Can I consider Rayleigh? I'm just gonna throw out Rayleigh in there, even though he's not really in the New World. He's in Sabaody. And then we have Don Chin Chow. We have like at least 7 Conquerors hockey users in the New World. I feel as if Ace was brought back in the New World, he would have had hockey. He would have easily have had hockey because Ace is supposed to be someone who Luffy looks up to, and so this would make Ace's strength be, almost a lot over Luffy. It's really hard to dictate how Ace would be because Luffy has got all these feats as Gear Fourth, and there's theories that Ace is still stronger than Gear Fourth Luffy. And even so, you could probably make the argument because Luffy isn't really near, or I guess he's near first commander level, but he's not at first commander level due to Katakuri giving him the win. But still, Ace would have undoubtedly have a higher bounty. He was at 550 million, I believe, pre time skip. So post time skip, he would have easily probably have been on Cracker Bounty, maybe exceeding maybe hell even a billion, because they when you have to remember they didn't know that up until Marineford they didn't know that Ace had Goldie Rogers blood. If Ace would have escaped, his bounty would have skyrocketed hell of like a lot. Ace would have probably had a billion bounty after the whole Marineford, or at least 2 years after Marineford, due to how they want Rogers' bloodline extinguished. And if Ace was living, Ace would be like the Marines' number one. We have to kill this man. We have to take him out. Ace, and then undoubtedly Ace would have gotten stronger, which would have made it harder, and Ace would have probably have gotten a really high bounty, probably a billion bounty, especially for being second commander to Whitebeard, who would have raged hell at Marineford. So obviously, with those theoretical, they, with those events happening in Marineford, Ace Ace's bounty would have skyrocketed, and I know bounty doesn't mean power, but with the way Oda's portraying the commanders right now, obviously the bounties are judging how the commanders that Luffy are facing stack up against one another. The whole bounty thing only really applied to the Straw Hats due to plot reasons, as they have lower bounties, but they're going up against stronger bounties to show how far they have come and how far they're going to rise to the top. So in their allies too. So obviously that's plot point reasons, and then the other reasons are gag reasons, as in Usopp having this 200,000 bounty because he's a gag character and he's not that strong, but people think he's that strong. Same with Buggy. Those people are just gag characters. Obviously, no commander's a gag character. So if Ace is getting this strong of a bounty, this much of a bounty, and Ace is going to obviously, no doubt, become stronger through the whole 2 years, I have a feeling Ace would have at least possibly been Katakuri level. I say this with possibly, as in Katakuri versus Luffy. Obviously, Katakuri was like stomping him in the beginning, and then Luffy kind of got on and was this close to surpassing Katakuri. Maybe not so much because Katakuri gave him the win. I think Ace would have probably have been at the level that he could have at least maybe not win against Katakuri, but in the beginning give him that fight. Maybe even tie Katakuri in strength because like I said, Ace is supposed to be someone Luffy looks up to in strength, and I would say Ace would, after 2 years, would have been either at the same level as Sabo or a little bit stronger than Sabo. And Sabo like decimated the first commander of he decimated the first commander of Blackbeard, Burgess, because everyone thinks Shiryu is the first commander or probably the strongest, yada yada yada, but Burgess is the first commander. And if I and thinking about it, if Shiryu was like really strong or stronger than Burgess, I would have said freaking Blackbeard would have put Shiryu as the first commander instead of Burgess because he put Shiryu second commander above his older people, above his, older companions such as Doc Q and Van Augur, who I've seen on like data books that his are they aren't a part of the 10 Titanic captains. They're just probably something lower, like a ministers or some like middle tier, like Kaido's headliners. They're kind of probably around that power level. But so obviously, if Shiryu would surpass Doc Q and Van Augur, even though Van Augur and Doc Q have been rocking with Blackbeard for the longest time, why isn't that Shiryu would be, higher than Burgess? So there's probably a reason why Burgess is first commander. He's probably stronger than Shiryu, judging by placements. So Sabo basically wrecked with Devil Fruit and without Devil Fruit, both times wrecked the crap out of Burgess. And obviously, I would think Ace would have done the same. Even Ace would have done the same. Ace probably would have gotten a Haydn. He would probably. I don't. I would think he would been shown using hockey like everyone else. There's no doubt about it. Ace would have been able to just use hockey after the 2 years like everyone else, since everyone else would have been using hockey. Everyone else would have been using hockey. It would have shown Ace using armament hardening. There's no doubt about it. Like anyone else in his crew would have been able to use armament hardening, since it wasn't shown in since it wasn't shown pre-time skip armament hardening, but post time skip everyone's using armament hardening to tell that everyone is using armament hockey. So obviously Ace would have used it to showcase that he knew it pre-time skip, since it is stated that he knew it pre-time skip. He probably would have gotten Kinbo Shoku, observation hockey. I don't think he would have gotten future sight. I don't think he would have gotten to the point of future sight, but he would have probably had a better observation hockey than Luffy, or just as strong as Sabo. And that's kind of where I'm basing Ace's power after 2 years is he would have been at the same level as Sabo, or maybe a bit higher than Sabo. Sabo, right now, I would put him as Admiral level because the whole Fujitora battle, yes, I know they both weren't battling it out at full power, but Sabo is second in command. There's no one in between him and there's no one in between him or Dragon. Sabo is stated that he is the second in command. He is the chief of staff, and Sabo in the Reverie has no fear going up against Fujitora and Green Bull. He obviously, Oda is showcasing that Sabo is at their level at least. So I feel as if Oda would Oda would have at least made it to where that Luffy would still have a ways to go, and from beating, like, every other pirate to become Pirate King, they probably would have had an Ace versus Luffy showdown after the second 2-year time skip, where it shows that Luffy finally surpassed Ace. But as of the point we're in the story, I would have felt like Ace would have been at the same level as Sabo. Ace would probably have a billion berry bounty or even more. Ace would have probably, along the lines, have been the same, maybe the same power as Katakuri. And that's kind of how I feel about it. Katakuri is powerful, but I feel as if the community and a lot overhyped Katakuri's power, because if you think about it, if Katakuri was as strong as other people made him out to be, Katakuri would have had a way bigger bounty than Queen or even King, because Queen's bounty is sitting at 1.320 billion. So why isn't Katakuri's high as the second commander of Kaido's crew? And Katakuri is a psychotic killer too. Like, he raged out. Like, all of Big Mom's crew are psychotic killers and are dangerous. Even Big Morgan's was there and they knew him. So why isn't the person in charge of the news, who is at the tea party, not giving these people like hidden bounties after attacking the Germa, after fighting the Germa, and just everyone else? why why are Big Mom's crew, have these hidden bounties? There has to be a reason for it, and there has to be a reason for Kaido's crew to have the bounties that they have. Obviously, is to tell the difference in strength between Kaido's commanders and Big Mom's commanders. As in, Kaido's commanders are way more dangerous. Obviously, I would say that depending on how much bounty that Ace would have had, he would have been literally right there. He would probably have been that second commander that could have matched Katakuri, but the first commander for Whitebeards would have bested Katakuri. It would have been over. How I like to keep everything, or how I would like to power scale everything, as, let's take Katakuri as Big Mom's first commander. I would say Katakuri would be here and Jack would be literally here. But I would say Queen would be here, King would be here, and like everyone is speculating, Marco would probably be here next to King. I would level that. So from up here and here as Katakuri's level, Ace would have at least have been here or fluctuating before here, because you have to remember Ace did fight all the other commanders to prove himself. Ace is literally the second commander for a reason. He is literally that level. Yes, Ace's showing in the Marineford wasn't a really good showing because he was starved. Was weak, significantly weaker, but he was able to fight Akaiji, or, well, not really fight, but he was able to completely cancel out Akaiji's attacks without nothing. You could say it's type advantage or anything like that, but still, with his amount of attack that he managed to put out, he canceled out Akaiji. He matched the sheer hugeness or sheer size of Akaiji's attack with his own attack and managed to cancel it out. So you already knew he still had that power in the tank. He just didn't really fare too well against Akainu. I mean, he wasn't really. I would say he was losing, but he wasn't getting stomped. He just died because Akainu targeted Luffy. So what can you do there? But I would say that he was actually going. He was actually matching for the most part. He was holding his own for the most part with being in that weakened state. So you can say that he was not a pushover. Cracker. A lot of people like to say Cracker would have bested. Cracker would have bested. Uh, Gosh dang it. Cracker would have bested Ace. I'm sorry about that. People would say Cracker would have bested Ace, but Ace would have depending on how Cracker's armament or not arm Devil Fruit worked. If Ace could burn it, all of his uh, crackers to a crisp, you could say Cracker would have lost against Ace. I'm just using headcanon here because Cracker or Ace would have literally charred Cracker's biscuits to where they're nothing but dust, and Cracker would have gotten attacked. Yes, Cracker had a really hard armament hockey, as Luffy said, but that was literally at the time Luffy was fighting him, and obviously we can make the inference that Katakuri has better armament than Cracker with how bad he was beating Luffy. Um, and if Cracker was, and you can also make the reason if Cracker's Devil Fruit is this problematic or anything, then why hasn't anyone said that, ooh, Cracker could be stronger than Katakuri? Obviously, no. They're, like I said, the commanders are in that place for a reason. Obviously, if Cracker was stronger than Smoothie, Cracker would have been second commander. If Cracker was weak, since Cracker's third commander, we can make the inference that Cracker is weaker than Smoothie. Obviously, like, obviously, the Big Mom Pirates aren't ranked as from age, they're ranked from strength, as in Parasparrow. As in Parasparrow, he is the oldest brother. He's not a commander. So that's that's like literally the simplest power scaling you could say is just by their ranks, so you can infer. And obviously I would say that Ace after 2 years would have been beaten Cracker would have been Whole Cake Island level Cracker after 2 years. There would have been no doubt about it. Because due to the sheer power he has been shown, through the sheer resiliency he has been shown, I could also say that Ace would have beaten Doflamingo because Doflamingo doesn't hold a candle to Cracker. And I see a lot of people saying Doflamingo would have beaten Ace. Doflamingo wouldn't have beaten Ace. There would have been no way after 2 years Doflamingo would have beaten Ace. That is like saying Doflamingo would have straightened out beaten Sabo, which again wouldn't have happened. I don't know why Sabo hasn't fought Doflamingo and the whole Dressrosa. I'm gonna chalk that down up to plot, but Sabo pretty much wouldn't have lost against Doflamingo. If anything, I wouldn't even say they're equals, because if you were saying that they're equals would have mean Doflamingo would have been on like he would have Doflamingo would have been on like commander level, but Doflamingo was shown to be afraid of commanders like Yonko commanders, unless I guess you could say he was afraid of Jack specifically. So maybe against Cracker, Doflamingo would have fared better, but Sabo obviously isn't. Sabo's obviously at a level higher than Obviously, Sabo is at a level higher than just your normal Yonko commander. He is at least admiral level with his tenacity and his unrelentless fear, his unrelenting will to fight these admirals, fighting Fujitora, fighting Green Bull at the Reverie with Fujitora, with the other commanders. Obviously, Sabo is a threat, and I don't see Doflamingo doing it. I don't see Doflamingo 1v1ing Fujitora without having some form of upper hand against Fuji, like the bird cage. Because obviously Fujitora would have won against Doflamingo because the basic what I'm basically trying to say is I if I say Sabo is admiral level, and then I would also say, and if I say Ace would be at least Sabo level, I would say Ace Sabo admiral level, Doflamingo would be under him. Because there's no way, because if Doflamingo was able to best an admiral, that would mean Luffy would already be able to best an admiral. And when we get to the whole admiral fights, Luffy would literally have bulldozed, or well, maybe not bulldozed, but he would have had the chance to win against every single admiral, which would undermine the strength and potential and the power and the threat level of an admiral. Why would Oda do that? Why would Oda show Luffy winning against these Yonko commanders, Luffy winning against Doflamingo, even with the help of Law, and then get to an admiral, and like what? Get stomped by an admiral or match an admiral or just like steamroll an admiral if Doflamingo wasn't there. Obviously, Doflamingo is an admiral level. Obviously, Doflamingo isn't an admiral level, or else Luffy would be ready for these admirals. After the whole fight with Katakuri and everything, Luffy Gear 4th Hawkman would have dealt with Green Bull, Fujitora, Kizaru, if and people, I know I've seen people who would argue that in Dressrosa, Fujitora and Doflamingo were equals, which obviously at this point in time wouldn't have been possible. I would say at least first commanders would equal Fujitora's power. Uh, Jack, Jack himself had no fear facing Suru or Fujitora, so Jack could probably maybe not beat Fujitora, but give him that fight. And so obviously, if Doflamingo is weaker than Jack because he's afraid of Jack, Doflamingo isn't on Fujitora level. If Jack is willing to fight Fujitora, and if Jack is willing to fight Fujitora, we can also say that people in the 1 billion uh, mark bounty mark, so Katakuri and them can also match Fujitora or any admiral. And so would you consider, so you can ask yourself, would you consider that Doflamingo would be at the level of Katakuri, at the level of Jack? Which is obviously a no, because Oda has stated it, or maybe not has stated it in textual evidence, but has made you can make an inference, you can infer it. He has made a specific reaction out of Doflamingo. So obviously that's how I would rank, even though I got on a side tangent. That's how I would rank Ace above everyone else uh that Luffy has fought so far. He has at least probably Katakuri level. He has been probably at least Katakuri levels of strength. And I'm sorry I went on off on a tangent there, but to understand how strong Ace would be after the 2 years, you would have to break down every other person's power scaling and how they are to Luffy and how Luffy has fought them and how Luffy stacks up to them. And I feel as if Oda would have still went with the whole Ace is maybe this much stronger than Sabo or equals now because Sabo's the second in command of the Rev Army, and we need to make the Rev Army seem like that other power, that fourth world power next to the Warlords, the Marines, and the Yonkos. So obviously they probably would have been equals, which would mean that Luffy would still need time to grow in strength, and that white like they would need to Luffy would need to grow more in strength. Whitebeard would still, Whitebeard's crew would still be like the powerhouse it is, and Ace wouldn't be a pushover as you would see prior to facing Blackbeard or having that. It was non-canon. It was a filler episode of him saying he couldn't defeat Smoker or anything like that. Because obviously, Ace would be at least Admiral level. Ace would have at least been Admiral level past 2 year time skip. Probably even stronger if it's shown that he was Admiral pre time skip. He would have at least been tied with Sabo in strength, which that would also make Sabo Admiral level, which that would put both of them above Dofi, which would put them in a weird position of maybe they're strong as Katakuri or maybe under Katakuri. So I would literally say that there would be Katakuri level. That's how I would say. Uh, due to how everyone is put together, due to how all the like power and bounties are put together, they would have at least those two would have at least been Katakuri level, and that is my final verdict. I would say Ace, due to as of right now in the story, Ace would have at least been Katakuri level had he survived Marineford, hadn't he trained and been on the sea and gotten stronger, and then come back in after 2 years with the knowledge within like an extensive knowledge of hockey. If he managed to get like learn to control his Conqueror's hockey, which I wouldn't really know why, or I wouldn't really dismiss Oda giving him Conqueror's hockey after 2 years with how many other Conqueror's hockey people we've seen. I would have said that Ace probably would have gotten Conqueror's hockey. That would have put him well. That would have put him at a certain tier, and he would have at least been a billion bounty, which I can literally say if a person's a billion bounty, I can literally lump him up with Jack. I can lump him up with Katakuri, and the fights can either go either way. And obviously, they wouldn't put Ace way stronger than Sabo because of Sabo's return, so Sabo could be up there too. And Luffy looks up to the two. Luffy needs to surpass these people in strength, and it would fit the story is what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to say Ace is absurdly strong for no reason other than be absurdly strong. It would literally fit the dynamic. It would fit the story, and that's why I feel Oda would have done it if he would have lived. So if Oda being Katakuri level would have made sense story-wise, it would have made sense power level-wise, and I guess you could say skill-wise, since Whitebeard is quote unquote the strongest man on Earth, and so he would need a strong crew. So it doesn't undermine Whitebeard, it doesn't undermine Ace's skill, and it won't undermine Luffy when he accomplishes or rise above and accomplishes his goal of being the best. And surpassing his brothers. So all in all, Ace would have been Katakuri, at least Katakuri level. Deducted. This is hopefully, I don't know which next review I will do, but I'm thinking of doing a Zoro theory, so hopefully you guys will tune into that. And with all that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I am out of here.